My boyfriend begged me not to go into his basement. One night, I heard crying from below and found a locked door. When he left for work, I picked the lock, and found a woman who looked exactly like me, sitting in the dark, whispering my name. She grabbed my hands, desperate. "Please, you have to remember." Suddenly, a voice behind me murmured, "You weren't supposed to see this." I turned around, and my boyfriend's face wasn't his anymore. I met my boyfriend, Mark, at a local art gallery in Pittsburgh. He was charming, with a quiet demeanor and a passion for vintage photography. We connected instantly, sharing stories over coffee and late-night walks. After a few months, he invited me to move in with him. His house was a quaint two-story in the suburbs, with creaky floors and a cozy fireplace. The only oddity was the basement. From the beginning, Mark was adamant, "Please, don't go into the basement. It's just storage, and it's a mess." I respected his wishes, thinking perhaps it held personal items or memories he wasn't ready to share. One night, while Mark was at work, I heard faint crying coming from below. It was soft, almost like a whisper, but unmistakably human. Curiosity got the better of me. I tiptoed to the basement door, which was locked. The crying grew louder, more desperate. The next day, while Mark was out, I searched for the key but found none. Determined, I borrowed a lockpick set from a friend who was into escape rooms and had taught me a few tricks. After several attempts, the lock clicked open. The basement was dimly lit, with a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. Boxes were stacked haphazardly, and the air was thick with dust. In the corner, I saw a figure sitting on the floor, her back against the wall. As I approached, my heart stopped. She looked exactly like me. Her eyes met mine, filled with a mix of relief and urgency. She reached out, grabbing my hands. "Please, you have to remember," she whispered. Before I could respond, a voice behind me murmured, "You weren't supposed to see this." I turned around, and Mark stood there, but his face wasn't his anymore. It was distorted, unfamiliar, yet eerily familiar. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over a box. My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear myself breathe. Mark, or whatever this thing was, just stood there, watching. His face seemed to ripple, like melting wax trying to hold shape. I blinked, and for a second, it looked normal again. The same blue eyes. The same faint scar above his brow from a bike accident he once told me about. But it didn't feel like him. The woman who looked like me was still clutching my hands. "Don't trust him," she said, voice shaky but firm. "You know something's wrong. You felt it." And I had. All those weird nights when I'd wake up and Mark would already be awake, sitting on the edge of the bed staring at nothing. The way he'd lock his phone every time I walked into the room. The way he never talked about his past, not even in the small, offhand ways couples usually do. "I'm not crazy," I whispered. Not to her. Not to him. Maybe to myself. Mark stepped closer. "You're confused," he said, his voice steady, calm. Too calm. "That woman, she's not real. It's stress. You've been working too hard, not sleeping enough. Come upstairs. I'll make you tea." "She is real," I shot back. "She's me." "She's not you," he said, louder now. His hands clenched at his sides. "You're you, and that thing is, I'm the original," the woman cut in. Her voice broke, and she clutched her stomach like she was in pain. "You're the copy." I froze. "What did you say?" "I don't have time to explain everything," she said. "But this house, this place, it's not what you think. He's not what you think. You're not even from here." I turned to Mark. His face had gone pale, completely white, like a mannequin. No veins, no pores. Just smooth, blank skin. "I tried to keep you safe," he said softly. "I gave you a normal life. You weren't supposed to remember. The floor under my feet suddenly felt wrong. Off. Like the texture had changed. I glanced down. The wood looked too perfect. Too clean. Like it wasn't real. "You're losing it," he said again. "Let's go upstairs." "She's waking up," the other me whispered. "The real you. The first you. You were put in her place." I shook my head, tears filling my eyes. None of this makes sense. Mark took another step forward, his face shifting again, like a bad reflection in a funhouse mirror. "Because it's not meant to." "She's underground," the other me said. "There's another door. Behind the furnace. That's where they keep the original ones. The ones they copied." Something inside me broke loose, fear, rage, confusion, maybe all three. I pushed past Mark and ran toward the furnace at the back of the basement. I didn't even care what he was saying anymore. My hands shook as I pulled boxes aside, revealing a rusted hatch behind the unit. "I'll make you forget again." Mark screamed. "Don't open that door." But it was too late. I pried it open. The smell hit me first, stale air, like something that had been sealed up for too long. Then came the narrow staircase, leading deeper underground than a basement should go. The woman behind me followed, limping. "She's down there," she whispered. "And so are the others." Others? She wasn't the only one. "He's done this before. He replaces people." The door slammed above us. Mark was coming. The tunnel was tight and cold, the walls lined with damp stone. I could hear the faint hum of electricity, even though I didn't see any wires. We walked for what felt like forever, until the hallway opened into a wider space. And there they were. Rows of pods. Like sci-fi movie pods, all glowing faint blue. Inside each one, people. Sleeping. Hooked up to machines. And in the nearest one. I stopped breathing. It was me. Another me. Eyes closed, a breathing mask over my mouth, IVs in my arms. Hair tangled. Skin pale. But it was me. The real me. "She's dreaming," the woman beside me said. "That's what they do. They copy you. Transfer your mind into the duplicate. Then keep you asleep, in case they need a reset." "Why?" I asked, voice cracking. "They don't want people to change too much. They want a version of you that stays predictable. Manageable." He thought he could control you. I turned. "Who is he?" "I don't know," she said. "But I think he's one of them." Before I could say anything else, the lights flickered, and a low alarm began to sound. "He knows we're here," she said. Footsteps echoed down the stone hallway. Not running. Calm. Steady. Like someone who had all the time in the world. "I just wanted a normal life," I said. "A boyfriend. A home." She looked at me, her eyes wide and sad. So did I. Mark stepped into the chamber. Only it wasn't Mark. Not anymore. His face was gone completely. Blank. Smooth. No features. Just skin stretching over bone. He raised his hand, and from his palm, thin metal wires shot out like veins. I screamed. The woman shoved me behind a pod. "Run. Don't let him touch you. He can wipe you, start over." "I'm tired of running." I yelled. "I want the truth." And for the first time, I felt something shift inside me. Like a memory I didn't know I had was fighting to surface. The original me, still sleeping, twitched inside the pod. Something was waking up. Inside both of us. And whatever happened next. I wasn't going back to being a copy. Not without a fight. I crouched behind the pod, heart pounding, my breath coming out in gasps. That thing wearing Mark's skin stepped into the chamber, those wires twitching in the air like metal snakes, scanning. The other me, the one who'd been in the basement, grabbed my wrist. Her grip was iron tight. We have to destroy the pod. If you wake up, this version of you, me, will vanish. That's the only way to get your real life back. But I don't even remember my real life, I said. What if I'm better off not knowing? The smooth-faced Mark thing turned toward the pod. You remember more than you think. That's why you're still awake. His voice was strange now, flat, robotic, like three people speaking at once. You were stable. We almost believed you'd stay. We even thought you might help us. You stole my life. We gave you a better one. Then why does it feel wrong? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. I was remembering things now. A room with white walls. People in lab coats. Pain in my head. A mask being lowered onto my face. Voices arguing. She's not responding to the imprint, she's adapting. We may have a deviation. I said don't wake her up, they'll all wake up. If one remembers, the rest will too. My knees buckled. I was an experiment. The other me, my backup, or whatever she really was, nodded. They clone people. Replace them. Slip into their lives. They study how long you'll live normally before you fracture. If you pass, they let you stay. If not, they reset you. Or kill you. I looked at the pod again. My body, my real body, was twitching now. One hand jerked violently. The lights around the pod glowed red. An alarm started beeping. She's waking up, the other me said. And if she does, I'll disappear. But I'm not ready, I whispered. I don't want to die. You won't. I will. Before I could say anything, she pushed me aside and ran toward the Mark thing. "Ichui," she screamed. "You want a clean reset?" The wires shot toward her. She didn't dodge. She let them hit her. Sparks flew. The pod light surged. The copy fell, twitching, smoke rising from her mouth. I screamed her name even though I didn't know it. Didn't know what part of her was part of me. Then everything went quiet. The Mark thing staggered. She corrupted the signal. I ran to the pod. I didn't think. I just acted. My fingers ripped out the wires, the mask, everything. I grabbed my own shoulders and shook. "Wake up!" I yelled. My eyes, my real eyes, snapped open. And I remembered everything. Mark wasn't my boyfriend. He was an agent, not from the government, not even from this planet. They were something older. A species that fed on order. On predictability. On stories that stayed the same. They cloned humans, inserted themselves into our lives, and watched to see if the copy broke the mold. If you stayed in your lane, got a job, got married, paid your taxes, they left you alone. If you questioned it, if you wondered what was behind the locked door, they reset you. I screamed as I remembered the first reset. And the second. All the ways I'd died, all the times I'd woken up in a new version of normal, memories twisted like tape pulled too tight. Not this time. I reached into the pod, pulled myself up. The room started shaking. "She's destabilizing," the Mark thing rasped. "The real one's too broken. We can't restore her." The wall behind me cracked. Light poured in, real light, sunlight from a world I hadn't seen in what felt like years. I dragged myself, my real self, out of the pod. The fake version of me, the brave one, the one who'd fought, her body was gone. Like she never existed. But I knew she did. Because I remembered. The Mark thing lunged at me, wires flailing. I kicked open the side panel of the machine and slammed my hand down on the emergency failsafe. It triggered a chain reaction, pods exploding, sparks flying, sirens screaming. "You'll come back," it hissed, melting. "You always come back." "Not this time," I said, and dove through the crumbling wall into the sunlight. I woke up in a hospital 2 days later, in a small clinic in upstate New York. The record said I'd been missing for 6 months. Found in the woods. Starved. Dazed. The nurses were kind. The doctor believed I had a breakdown. Stress, they said. Mental exhaustion. But I remember. Every detail. I still dream about her. The other me. The one who helped me escape. Sometimes I wonder if I'm still in the pod. If this is just another layer of the simulation. Another version of control. But when I look in the mirror now, I see scars that weren't there before. And sometimes I hear her voice. "Don't forget again." I won't. Not ever. Because if I do, they'll come back. And this time, they'll make sure I never wake up again. I thought it was over. After I escaped that place, after I pulled myself out of that pod and blew everything to hell, I believed I'd broken free. That I was back in the real world. Back in my real body. I even started to believe I could live a normal life again. But I was wrong. It started small. A photo on my phone that I didn't remember taking, me, standing outside a house I'd never seen before. A bruise on my arm in the shape of a handprint I didn't remember getting. Voices in the white noise of the TV, whispering my name when the volume was turned all the way down. And then, one night, I woke up in my new apartment to find someone sitting at the edge of my bed. It was me. Not the same me from the basement. This one was fresh. Unmarked. Her skin flawless. Her hair perfect. Her eyes wide and unblinking. "I just wanted to see how far you'd go," she said in my voice. "You're the only one that ever made it out." I scrambled back against the wall, fumbling for the lamp. When the light came on, she was gone. I checked every room, every lock. Nothing. I told myself it was a dream. I lied. A week later, I got a call from a blocked number. A voice said, "Do you think they let you go?" Click. No one believed me. Not my doctor. Not the therapist they assigned. Not even the private investigator I hired to look into Mark's past. Nothing came up. Like he never existed. Like none of it ever happened. But I knew better. I moved to a different state. Changed my name. I started a job at a bookstore. Kept my head down. And for a while, things were quiet. Until yesterday. I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a flash drive. I plugged it into a junk laptop I kept just in case. There was only one file. A video. Grainy, black and white. It showed a long hallway, underground. Rows of pods. Just like the ones I saw. And there, right in the center, was me. Eyes closed. Hooked up to wires. Breathing. Still asleep. Still there. Still dreaming. I slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. I paced the room for hours, unsure if I should run or scream or set everything on fire. Then, at exactly 3:03 a.m., I heard knocking at my door. 3 slow knocks. I looked through the peephole. No one was there. But when I opened the door, on the doormat was a single Polaroid photo. Me. Smiling. Standing in front of my apartment. But here's the part that made my blood run cold. In the photo, my eyes were closed. And behind me, in the shadow of the doorway, was Mark. Smiling. His hand resting gently on my shoulder. I dropped the photo. Locked every door and window. Sat in my bathtub with a kitchen knife and waited until daylight. I still haven't slept. Because I know what's happening now. I didn't escape. I woke up into another layer. They're still watching. Still testing. Still waiting for me to crack. And worst of all, I think they're done playing nice. Because this morning, my reflection didn't follow me. I turned my head left. She didn't move. She just smiled. The same smile Mark gave me when I found the pod. And whispered from behind the glass, "You weren't supposed to see this, again."